6, the quadratic formula during the lesson. Very soon. So as a reminder, a quadratic equation is this: ax squared plus bx plus c, right? And last time we learned that it starts to equal 0. Yes? If it's not equal to 0, we have to set it equal to 0. Right? We already know that. Okay. Now, another pen. The quadratic formula, I'm going to give it to you first, and then I'll teach you the song. Remember, you have to sing me the song as part of your group. I'm going to make it, you sing it to me now as a group, like you'll say it all together. It's more like just saying it. It's not really singing. It's not like opera singing. You're just going to really say it. I will sing it to you awkwardly by myself first, and then you'll say it with me. Okay? I'm going to give you the equation first, okay? So all of these are for x values. So it's x equals, you never say that in the actual thing. So it's opposite of b plus or minus, because you have a positive or negative answer. No, negative b. It's really negative b, but it's opposite of b. So if it's positive, it becomes negative. If it's negative, it becomes positive. Square root of, the square root's going to need to be a little long. Underneath the square root, it's 4. Oh, no, I'm sorry. Oh, Jesus. B squared. Just stop talking. That would help a lot. B squared minus 4 times A times C. B squared times 4 minus 4 times A times C. All over 2 times A. So that's the formula you'll have memorized. You never say this part. You're just going to find 2 answers. So on Alex, it will say in the box, it'll just say x equals blank, and you will find 2 answers. You will have to put x equals like 5, 12, and you'll just have to put them next to each other, put commas in between. Okay. Now, you know how they have like those little nursery rhymes when you're a little kid, like Sing Around the Rosie and all those things. Do you know the nursery rhyme Frere Jacques? No. If I started, I don't know all the words because I don't know what language it is, but I don't. It's like Frere Jacques, dormez-vous. Do you know that, like, that beat? I think so. Anyway, so there's a lot of versions to this. I can't ever find it online to play it for you, so I never have to sing it. So I'm just going to sing it to you. So I'm going to sing this to you. I'll sing it to you multiple times. It's literally this equation repeated. Okay? Are you ready? Okay. Then you're going to sing it with me. Blessed be. It's opposite of b plus or minus square root of b squared minus 4ac, b squared minus 4ac over 2a, over 2a. That's it. That's it. Oh, Jesus. That's it. So you have to, once you get to the square root, you repeat everything you do. And that's it. And it helps you remember it because literally I can find seniors in this school that they can still have this song stuck in their heads. Okay, which is good because if they ever ask you to find the x-intercepts of anything, as long as you have an equation, you can always use this to find it. Okay? You ready to try it with me? We'll go slow. You do have to sing it to me tomorrow. Tomorrow. Mm-hmm. tomorrow. You ready? The more you use it too, you know the order, the more you know the song. And you can look at the equation now. When you sing it to me later, you cannot look at the formula to sing it to me. Yeah. Wow. Yeah, AJ, you finally learned something this year. Okay. You ready? The easy part is actually doing the math. You ready? So opposite of B plus or minus square root of, repeat, square root of B squared minus 4AC, B squared minus 4AC over 2A, repeat, over 2A. No. Okay. You ready? Okay. Well, don't look over here because it's next to me too. You're going to do it again. Ready? Opposite B. That's why we don't look at each other, because it gets real awkward when you look at each other. Chloe was doing okay until she made eye contact with Braden. Well, you want to try it one more time before we use it, and then the song is just stuck in your head for the rest of your life. Okay. Okay, you ready? Go ahead. Opposite of B. You keep saying squee. Hey Jace, how you doing over there? Cause I can't hear you. We're gonna try it again after we actually use it, okay? Okay. Now, this is gonna turn on. It's gonna be real mad. No, plus or minus. No. That sounds wrong. Okay, so now we're actually going to do example when it turns on. I hope it actually still kept recording even though it was dark. We'll see. Okay. Okay, so let's do some examples. Okay. So, oh, it's still recording. Good. It's going to take a little bit for it to like brighten up for a second. Come on. So I'm going to give you this equation. X squared minus 12x equals negative 20. We're on examples. Now, the first thing you have to do right before you can use your song is, what do we need to do? What do you see? Yep, we got to move this over so it says equals 0. You can't do anything until it says equals 0. So we're going to move this over. So now it is x squared minus 12x plus 20 equals 0. Okay? And if it helps, because people mess it up all the time, every single time I'd write down what A, B, and C are on the side so you never have to look at the equation again. So what's the value of A in this equation? What's the number in front of the x squared? Technically. 1. What's the number for B? Negative 12. What's the number for C? 20. Now that we have that, we literally do not need the equation anymore. Now we just need our quadratic formula, which is right above it. We are going to plug A, B, and C in where they belong. So I'm going to write x equals, and I always draw my line for division, right? So opposite of B. So what's the opposite of B? Just 12 plus or minus the square root of, what is B squared? Anyone know what negative 12 squared is? 144, because remember, they're always positive, minus 4 times 1 times 20. I always just write it out. All over 2 times A, which is just 2. So I simplify as much as I can. Sometimes 4 times A times C, you can do it. It just depends on how big the numbers are. So simplify in groups. You cannot type all of this in. So square root, simplify everything under the square root by itself. So everything here, 144 minus 4 times 1 times 20, you can type that all into your calculator and just subtract it to a number. So you're going to have x equals 12 plus or minus the square root of one number. So you have to do that math. So what's 144 minus 4 times 1 times 20? 64. And then it's all over 2. From there, if you use your space wisely, this does not use a lot of space. Do you know what the square root of 64 is? 8. So you have 12 plus or minus 8 all over 2. You know how we have plus or minus? What do we usually do when we have plus or minus? Think about it. Doesn't that mean we have two different numbers, right? So we have two different equations. So we have to do 12 plus 8 divided by 2. Find its answer. 12 minus 8 divided by 2. Do the top, enter, then divide by the bottom. Don't try to type it in all at once. So 12 plus 8 divided by 2, answer. 12 minus 8 divided by 2, answer. So what are your two different answers? Top one. 10. Yeah, you forgot to divide. So then in Alex or wherever, I'd write x equals 10 comma 2. Those are my two answers, and I'm done. That is it. That's it. Okay, let's do one we have fraction answers, and then we're going to do ones where we have radical answers. B squared, 12 squared. Okay. Let's try a second example. Okay. How about 4x squared minus 24x plus 35 equals 0? Yes, you can. So now these numbers are getting bigger, which is why it's good to write it out. So what does A equal? What does B equal? Negative 24. And what does C equal? 35. So C is a big number. That's going to make a big difference. So opposite of B is what? 24 plus or minus the square root of, what is B squared? What is 24 squared? Minus 4 times 4 times 35. All over 2 times A, which is? So now simplify just underneath the radical. What do you get? What number is left underneath the radical? 16, correct. Do we know what the square root of 16 is? What is it? Okay, so 24 plus 4, plus or minus 4, all over 8. So make your two equations. You have to give me fraction answers. You cannot give me decimal answers. Yeah. This time you're going to get two fraction answers. Honestly, all I do is just write them out, because sometimes if you don't write them out, you think you're going to move too fast, you do make a mistake. I just write these out, and then I just write my answers right next to each other so I remember what I'm typing in, because that's how we forget to type an answer in. So 24 plus 4, add them together, then divide by 8, simplify the fraction. 24 minus 4, divide by 8, simplify the fraction. What do you get as your two answers, Jimmy? Yep. Blessed be. Okay. Okay. Okay, next. This one's going to be different. 3x squared. I'm just showing you the different ways you can write your answer. If it asks you for an exact answer, yes, which means no decimals, right? So 3x squared minus 2x minus 9 equals 0. This one, you're going to make it all the way to where you want to simplify the square root, and you can't. What's A equal? What's B equal? What's C equal? Okay, let's plug them in. Opposite of B squared minus 4 times A times C. Did you get the same answers I did so far? Yes? This is where it becomes different. This is where your least favorite chapter comes into play. Yeah. The square roots. That's a square root chapter. Now, the reason you learn that chapter is this. This guy right here does not have a perfect square root, does he? You cannot take the square root of 112. Okay? So you have to simplify the square root of 112 using your knowledge of how to simplify a square root. So 112, you go, what square divides that number? Remember, you're saying what breaks down 112? And you try squareds. I know 4 works. If 4 works, try 16. Yep. So 16 works and 7 works. So the square root of 16, the square root of 7. Yeah, because 16 times 7, it makes 112. Right? You see that? So since these two numbers, really, this can replace that basically. Okay? So since these two make that, this can replace that there. So what we're going to do is we're going to place that with this. So that turns into 2 plus or minus the square root of 16, square root of 7, all over 6. Well, what do you know about the square root of 16? It's the whole number 4. So you got 2 plus or minus 4 square root of 7 all over 6. This is almost your answer, except for what do you notice about the numbers 2 and 6 and 4 and 6? They're all what kinds of numbers? They're all even numbers, which means they can all be simplified, can't they? So you have to simplify them all together. They all can be simplified of a GCF of taking out a 2. So you have to GCF it. So this turns into a 1. This turns into a 2, square root of 7, and this turns into a 3. The only bad thing is because Alex does not have a plus or minus button. So on Alex, you would have to type in the fraction, and then you have to do like 1 plus 2 square root of 7 over 6. And then 1 minus. That is your answer. If the radical does not simplify, your answer is a radical. If it asks for an exact answer. If it does not ask for an exact answer, once you get here, use different color. Once you get here, make 2 separate equations, type it in using decimals. Oh yeah, crap. So if it asks you for a decimal answer, if it says in the instructions, round to the nearest 10th, 1 decimal please, you would start here and you would literally split it up into 2 equations like normal. 2 plus that over 6, and you would type it into your calculator and just give me a decimal answer. But if it says find the exact answer, you have to simplify the radical. So that is the only big difference. So this is honestly the hardest part, which is why you learn chapter 7 first. Practice your song. I recorded this, so it'll be here for you to listen to.